On April 10th, SkyMet, a Noida-based weather forecasting agency, and an equivalent to Indian Meteorological Department (IMD). This SkyMet predicted that India would get, for 2023, India would get below normal monsoonal rainfall. Below normal monsoonal rainfall. What do you mean by this? Below normal monsoonal rainfall is nothing but it is below than the normal average monsoonal rainfall of India. According to IMD, there is an LPA, long period average. LPA, long period average rainfall is there for India. This long period average rainfall is for the 50 years period. This IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, is calculated this LPA, long period average, for the last 50 years, that is from the 1971 to 2020. In this, the last 50 years monsoonal average annual rainfalls is nothing but long period average. This is SkyMet below average monsoonal, below normal average rainfall is nothing but this compared to this 50 years annual average period of monsoonal rainfall, compared to this one, which is this monsoon, this coming monsoons will get less rainfall. That is around 90% of this average LPA average rainfall. This, according to this Indian Meteorological Department, there are 4 stages in the rainfall, receiving of the monsoon rainfall by India. What is this? This number 1 is normal average rainfall. Normal is nothing but 96% to 104% of this LPA, and above normal is nothing but more than 104% percentage of this long period average LPA, and below normal is nothing but 90 to 96% percentage of the LPA. And drought year or deficient rainfall period is nothing but less than 90% of this LPA. Now this SkyMet predicted that India would get below normal average rainfall, which means that India would get, for 2023 year, India would get around 90% of this long period average. This year 90% is nothing but 10% less than the LPA. 10% is less than. In terms of enumerate, in terms of calculate, in terms of numbers, India's average annual rainfall is 118 centimeters, surprisingly, which is around 50% more than the world average rainfall of 83 centimeters. India's average rainfall is 118 centimeters per annum. Out of this one, this only monsoons, this 4 months period, June to September, 4 months period, monsoons contributes around 80% of India's average annual rainfall. That is around 104 centimeters. This monsoons 4 months period contribute 80% of rainfall. That means around 104. Now this 223 for 2023 period, India get below normal is nothing but India get around 86.86 centimeters of rainfall. It is not similar across this vast country of Indian territory. So according to this SkyMet or Indian Meteorological Department, this central India, this is the rain shadow zone of the Western Ghats, eastern part of the Western Ghats. That is especially this Gujarat, Maharashtra, this Maharashtra Vidarbha region, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, some parts of the Jharkhand and some parts of UP, this central India mainly, and this rain shadow zone will get the deficient rainfall, that is the drought. They will face the drought situation. Whereas the northwestern part of the country, that is the Rajasthan, especially the northern Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana and western UP, Himachal Pradesh, this is known as agricultural bowl of the country. This area will get the below normal average rainfall, that is they will face the drought kind of situation, because they will get around 15 to 20% of below average rainfall. So it is catastrophic for the overall food security and nutritional security of the nation, because that is the rice bowl area. So overall, this below normal average rainfall as predicted by this SkyMet, and even this IMD also it yet to release its predicted report, and this SkyMet prediction is also being corroborated by the United States of America's based NOAA. National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. This is also predicting El Nino. El Nino conditions across the, especially this tropical part of the Pacific Ocean. This is climate prediction is based on the El Nino. This 223 will become El Nino year. This El Nino situation is nothing but abnormal warming up of the usually cold Humboldt or Peruvian cold current in the eastern Pacific off the coast of the Peruvian coast. This abnormal warming up of the usually cold current of this Humboldt and Peruvian current will have the impact on the overall atmospheric and ocean circulation system of the globe. This is also known as ENSO, El Nino and Southern Oscillations. This are also dipole, Indian Ocean dipole conditions in technical terms. It is more technical in nature. Especially this monsoon lesson of the geography or climatology lesson of the geography optional. This dipole condition, Indian dipole or ENSO conditions will have adversely affect on the Indian monsoonal rainfall system. Indian monsoonal rainfall system, this 4 months period is very crucial for the overall Indian economy, especially Indian agriculture development. This monsoon season is also known as Kharif season. Agriculturally, it is known as Kharif season. This Kharif season accounts for around 70% of Indian agricultural production. So this any kind of variation, aberrations or abstractions of the rainfall during the monsoon season will have adverse effect on the Indian overall agricultural production, and which this agriculture is playing pivotal role in the overall Indian economy. So if you looked at the Indian macroeconomic situation of the country, since inception of this economic reforms in India, this out of the 3 sectors, services sector contribution to GDP at one point of time, especially in 2013 and 14, it will increase it to around 60% contribution to GDP. So remaining 2 another important sector is industrial, only contributing 25% of the Indian GDP. Whereas agricultural contribution to GDP is plummeted to only 13.4% by 2013. Of course, because of this COVID situation, remaining other 2 sectors adversely affected, whereas the agriculture contribution is increased, that is around 18%, which agriculture sector contribution to GDP is at right now it is around 18%. This agriculture contribution to GDP compared to other 2 sectors is minimal, meager. However, Indian economy is being described as an agro-based economy. So it is surprising that though this services sector contributes around 60% of the Indian GDP, still India is being described as an agro-based economy. Why this one? Why this is the why? What is the reason behind this? Because of this agricultural pivotal role in the overall Indian economic process. Though around 60% of the India's population, 45% of the labor force is depending upon the agriculture sector. That is not only that, around this agriculture sector is around almost agriculture sector ensuring the food and nutrition security to 1/5 of human kind of the Indian population. That is the prominence of the agriculture sector. Not only that, Indian agricultural agro component is more main important component to Indian industrial sector, and also Indian exports, around 20% of Indian exports is being directly contributed by agriculture sector. Even agro component is also most important component in other kind of exports, especially textiles exports. So this is very important. So in this way, this agricultural role is being described as a pivotal role in the overall economic developmental process of the economic growth of the country. So any variations in the monsoonal rainfall onwards, around 60% of the Indians agricultural land area is depending. So given this low irrigated area, this monsoonal rainfall is very crucial for the Indian agriculture system. So any aberrations in the average annual rainfall percentage to India will have obviously on the adverse effect on the Indian economic situation. So this climate prediction of the below normal rainfall for the coming monsoonal 4 months monsoonal period is the biggest shock to Indian economic and policy makers of even political establishment also. This is not only that one. These monsoons will have its cascading effect on the overall global situation, global financial situation. Already global financial system is facing various troubles because of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis, and also this after COVID, post-COVID persistent lingering effect still on the global financial situation. So given this chaotic atmosphere, this news is yet another shocking lightning strike to global financial system, global financial policy makers. So this monsoonal, this if you looked at the global area, this monsoonal system, this weather area, is accounts for around 60% of the global population. Around 70% of the global agricultural production is coming from this monsoonal area, especially East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia. These regions around 60% of the global population. So any deviations in the monsoonal rainfall because of the El Nino situation, which is looming large in the tropical area of the Pacific Ocean, will have adversely affected the overall agriculture production in the Asian continent, this monsoonal part. So in which around 60% of global population is living. So already because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis, world is facing the inflation crisis and food crisis. This food crisis will become more severe in the coming years. So as WMD predicted, so FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, Rome-based UNO organization, also predicting this one. So this climate prediction is not only bad for India, even it is more bad to global situation. Now this is a question. Now the very important pertinent question is whether India can afford this below normal average rainfall situation or not. So especially before that one, we should understand that this coming year 2023-24 is a electioneering year because India is heading towards the general elections. So this general election situation, any inflationary conditions, any recessionary condition, especially in view of its rising prices of this inflation situation, will affect the overall economic, social and political, especially the political situation in the country. So it is not good for the ruling political establishment in the country. So inflation, this inflation is just like aids to this economy. So once inflation rises, so the once prices rises, it will have impact on the overall this savings rate. Once savings reduced, investment availability to the economy will be reduced. Once investment accessibility, availability is reduced, this will affect the production and growth rate. If growth rate affected, so this will affect this macroeconomic situation, especially the investment rate. So this inflation is slowly, it is create the vicious cycle in the economy, and finally it leads to recessionary tendency. This recessionary tendency in India, especially given the global financial chaotic situation, is not good for the managing the ongoing the world's the best growth momentum in the country. According to the IMD, according to the latest budget estimates by Indian Finance Ministry, India is going to maintain around 7% of the growth rate in its GDP. So this India may not register this growth momentum, may not continue this growth momentum, the spree of the growth. India is now it's the fastest growing economy on the earth surface. India may not, it may be subdued this growth momentum. So it is not good for India. So India has already taken measures to face it. But given the huge food stock, India may not face the food crisis. But India definitely will face the high inflation price rise situation, and this growth momentum may be affected adversely because of this climate. So in this way, we can elucidate and we can concisely say that this climate predictions, low monsoonal rainfall because of this El Nino situation in the Pacific Ocean is a very important challenge for the India, especially Indian growth momentum. So India have the huge targets in the coming Amrut Kal. This Amrut Kal is very important for India. However, given the global financial situation, crisis chaotic situation, and this below normal average rainfall because of the El Nino situation will add another challenge to Indian policymakers.